Hey, we're live, guys. We're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today my guest is Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. How are you doing today, Chris?
Hey, Jeff, I'm doing great.
Hey, man, thanks for coming on and hanging out with me today, man. Go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience, just in case they don't know who you are. You can tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and tell them what it is that you do.
Hey, everyone, I'm Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler, with over 30 years of eBay experience. Well, not that much of eBay experience, but pretty much since 1995. But I have a YouTube channel, and I talk about what's sold on eBay. I actually also am the e-commerce manager for the American Cancer Society. I help run their eBay business. So gone full circle here, and that's who I am. And I'm from Burbank, California, wonderful California, just right outside of Los Angeles.
Yeah, I was going to say that's right outside of LA, right?
Yeah, so about like 15, 20 minutes outside of LA.
All right, awesome. So tell me, man, you gotta tell us the story real quick. How did you end up getting this gig working for the American Cancer Society? Because if you guys don't know, it's almost like a Goodwill or Salvation Army or something. People donate stuff to you guys, and then you turn around and resell it, right?
Correct. It's the same exact model, except for the funds that we raise go to cancer research and all these things to help save lives. So it's definitely a really cool organization. But what's funny, Jeff, is no out of all the interviews I've done, no one's ever asked me how I got this job. So this will be a first. So congratulations on having an exclusive question.
Well, I could come up with 100 more. I mean, we're just getting
This is
started.
good.
So
This is good. So
yeah, go ahead.
it's actually a good story. So in my town, there's a few thrift shops, and this is one of them. The discovery shops that American Cancer Society has, they're more like upscale resale shops. There's like higher end stuff. There's not just a bunch of garbage everywhere. The items are picked, and there's some things that go to other places and things that get recycled. But we try to keep the best of the stuff here. So that's what kind of differentiates us from like a Goodwill or whatever. But I used to shop here for 5 or 6 years, and the lady that was running the eBay business went on to a different job in Boston, and so they said, I was such a longtime customer here that they said, hey, like there's a job opening. And at the time, it was funny. I worked in post production. I did video editing for 15 years, so I had a job at that point. And so I said, oh, like I have a full-time job. I'm good. And this is interesting. I appreciate it. Let me know. I'll let you know, what goes on. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to say it, I was laid off from that editing job. Our jobs were outsourced to India. So I was jobless. And so I came back and said, hey, is it open? And I did the interview, and they all loved me. And I showed, literally in 5 minutes what I knew. And we've kind of scaled the business since then. We've kind of doubled every year what we've been doing. It's a lot of work. For what I do is so encompassing. Like I'm more of a manager, but I'm also doing the picking and the listing and a lot of the stuff, and also managing different volunteers who work in different cities in California, Oregon, Washington to help list on our site too. So it's a crazy thing. And I also do consulting. So there's lots of managers that send me a text or call me with different pictures of stuff that comes in, because I have a wealth of knowledge of different things that they might not know about. So that's basically in a nutshell how I got the job.
So there was headhunters. If you guys don't know, it's people that are in corporate executive positions like vice president or president or CEO of companies. They send headhunters to recruit, executives from other companies to come work for their company. So it's just funny to me that you're a customer there. You're out at the thrift shop looking for stuff to resell, and they're like, "Hey, man, how are you doing?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm good. Hey, come work for us." So they recruited you off the street to come work there, basically, right?
Basically, like there was a rapport, and lots of reseller YouTubes have talked about, having a rapport with the managers at different Goodwills and just being a nice person and just talking to people. The old manager that was here, we had a situation where if like video games would come in or action figures or whatever that they just didn't want it, they would just basically sell me the whole thing. And so they knew whenever they needed some money, they can just call me and I'd buy everything. Now, I wasn't a customer that would be like cherry pick everything. I would literally just buy the whole thing, even though if I knew like I was barely going to make any profit on it or even break even, they knew that I wasn't messing around. Like I was a serious buyer. I wasn't going to mess around. And so they knew of my eBay background. So it wasn't like a cold call where they're just like, hey, guy, random guy, let's do you do eBay? It was years of rapport with the manager. So I would definitely suggest, if you're doing this full time, have a rapport with your managers, get friendly with them. I'm not saying like kiss their asses or anything and try to do something that's like ingenuous, but actually just be a normal human being and talk to them. And you never know what kind of stuff can lead into.
Yeah, it's important to build up relationships with people because I've had instances a couple weeks ago. Maybe I wasn't looking to buy something at a place, but I was willing to sell off some old inventory that I had laying around, and so I brought it there, and they gave me cash on the spot. So
Mm.
even if you're not buying something, you can still go back and sell stuff as well, and you can still go back and make money that way. But it's about making connections. I mean, I had this thrift store, and this lady would it was an older lady, and they would sell me video games for 50 cents a piece. It was like, hey, you come here all the time. You want to buy these video games? Here you go. We'll hook you up. How's 50 cents a piece sound? And one of them was like this Game Boy Pokemon game. So, I didn't, like you said, I didn't get to cherry pick and pick the only good ones and leave the bad ones. But for 50 cents a piece, I just bought all of them. So, hey, we got a bunch of people in the chat today. I told you you're a popular guy, Chris. So let me say hello here to a few guys in the chat. I wanted to say hey to LKL Graphics. Keith is here. Red Mountain Resell is here in the chat. He's going to be on later this week on Saturday. So if you guys get a chance, you can check him out. He's a big shoe seller. We have the Selling Sniper is here in the house. He says hello. Thanks for coming by and hanging out with us. And Ebliss Reseller Solutions is here. Says, hey, Jeff and Chris. Hey, Dave and Lori. Thank you guys for coming by and hanging out. If you have questions for our guests, go ahead and drop it into the chat. So they converted you from being a thrift shop hustler to being like a thrift shop reseller, right? So you're here, you're now, a connoisseur. You have these items, and then they bring them in. How do you decide which ones that you like put like out on the floor and which ones that you post online for sale?
So it's kind of interesting. So I actually work inside of the Burbank shop, which is kind of like an oddity in itself because I should have my own kind of warehouse and everything. So the fact that I work in tandem with the Burbank shop, it makes it easier for me to kind of see what comes in and kind of walk the floor and kind of check that kind of stuff out. But for the most part, it's usually the managers that bring stuff to me, or they call me, or they email me, or they chat with me saying I have this stuff. And some of the managers that are far away, they wait till they get a good amount of stuff and then they ship everything to me, and then I list it like that. For the most part, I don't really go and scavenge the Burbank shop like I used to when I first started, because I just don't have the time to do that. So those that might think like, oh, there's no treasures to be found, I can probably go out there and find 5 or 20 things that you can sell for profit that are out there right now. So that's usually how it works.
Yeah. So tell me, Chris, what are some like hot items that have been selling for you lately? Because you do this for a living, selling stuff for other people for their eBay business, but you also have your own personal eBay business and stuff as well, right?
Yeah, that whole thing has been put on the back burner, especially with all the NFT stuff that I've been dealing with and all those kind of things. So I haven't really been keeping track of my personal thing. I do have like a couple personal accounts. One is like mainly postcards, and I had like 1,000 postcards that were listed originally before I took all my breaks and things. So I've just been kind of doing that. But the other thing is just just keeping busy with here at work. I really don't have much time for my other eBay businesses.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've been selling, believe it or not, I've been selling a lot of VHS tapes lately. If you guys are out and you see VHS tapes that are new, sealed in the shrink wrap, I was watching your interview with Adam like a couple weeks ago, and you guys touched on that. I had no idea that you can actually send these VHS tapes in, and there's actually a company that will grade them, just like comic books or trading cards. Can you talk about that for a second?
Right. So with the whole craze of baseball card grading and comic book grading that has taken off, especially during the virus situation and all that kind of stuff, people have extra money, extra time. A lot of these cards have skyrocketed in price, so it's opened up other markets for grading, and VHS and DVDs are just starting to get graded. So we're going to see a huge kind of, I don't want to say huge, but we're going to see a big movement into that. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the most random things that start to get graded. Beanie Babies haven't really been graded. They have been authenticated before, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see like Beanie Babies getting graded and just other odd things that you wouldn't think be graded. But right now for VHS, any kind of like Star Wars, any kind of Pokemon stuff, like older video game type VHSs, like rare VHSs, horror movies, the same things that make good money, like normally, once you grade them and they get a good grade, then those things could be worth way more than just loose or sealed normally.
Yeah, guys, I tell you all the time, if you're out somewhere and you see media and it's new in the plastic and it's still in the shrink wrap, I would pick it up. It's a VHS tape, DVDs, Blu-rays, video games. If you guys don't know, people are big time right now where they have these video games that are new in the shrink wrap, and they'll find like PS2 games or something that they don't make anymore. Then they'll send them in, get them graded, and maybe they spent $20 on the game, and now it sells for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I don't know, because I don't send stuff in to get graded, but I mean, I've seen it online a lot.
Yeah, so grading services usually cost around $100. I have 2 video games that I've been saving to send in. So I'll be sending in some graded video games pretty soon for the first time. And I think like if you have a rare game that's like in amazing condition, because that's another thing, you don't want to send in, even though it's sealed, if it's all dirty and there's like holes in the packaging and things, you don't really want to send that in, because the grading all depends on the quality of the item. So if you get a high grade, you're going to get more money, and the higher the grade of, obviously you're going to get more money, and population comes into play. So like if 100 people send in a sealed VHS, maybe only one gets a grade 10 or a perfect grade, and then that thing's worth a ton of money because it's the only one in existence. So that has a lot to do with it. So you can't just send anything in for grading. The only time you would send anything in for grading is if it's an extremely rare something that you have, and then obviously not too many people are going to have it, so any grade will be good.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, I think it was maybe a month or so ago now, but there was an old Nintendo 64 game, and the guy had it in the shrink wrap, and I think he would send it in and got graded, and it sold for like $1.5 million. Honestly, I'm not making this up. You can Google it. So the guy, I don't know where he got it from. I don't know if he found it at a thrift store or yard sale or whatever, but seriously, it was like, it wasn't anything fancy. It was just like a little Mario Brothers N64 game, and it was still in the box. It was in the shrink wrap. They sent it in to get graded. They sent it into one of these auction houses, and it sold for 1.5 million. So I'm not making this stuff up. It's one of these big trends where if you find something, let's say you find something and it's just in the shrink wrap, the value isn't really there. But if it gets graded, like you said, a 9, 9.5, or 10, that raises the value up significantly. Cherry Picker Flipper says, what is the grading company for VHS tape? So what's the name of the company? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my hand. As a matter of fact, I have some Disney stuff that I've been saving that I'm going to send in. It's like mint condition stuff. Just go into Google and type VHS grading, and they're the only company that exists that does it. So you'll find them really easily. I apologize for not having the name right off the top of my head.
It's okay. That's why we have Google. We have the Google machine. So we have a question from Eblis Reseller Solutions. He wants to know, are Disney Black Diamond VHS tapes still a good find?
Kind of. There's like 3 or 4 of them that were the original ones. A lot of the newer ones aren't really worth a lot, even if they're in sealed, like Little Mermaid and all those kind of 90s ones. There's a few of them that were produced in the early 80s, and I think it's like Fox and the Hound, Pinocchio, 101 Dalmatians, and they were the first release. Like there's some black diamonds that actually have like a second printing, and they have different covers. So you got to be you kind of got to know what you're dealing with. So some of the very first ones are the ones that are worth, if you can find those brand new sealed, those are probably worth sending in to get graded. But in terms of just like average black diamonds, they probably go anywhere between $10 and $20 a piece sealed. They don't demand as much money as people think they do.
Yeah. Usually 9 times out of 10, guys, the stuff has a barcode. You just scan the barcode and eBay will tell you. It'll tell you sold comps of what the stuff sells for. We had a question here from Cherry Picker Flipper. She wants to know what type of thrift stores do you go to? So when you go sourcing, looking for inventory, which you don't have as much free time to do that right now, where are some of the spots that you like to go sourcing at? Do you have any like secret honey holes? You have any crazy ideas off the wall things that you could kind of help our audience, help them find inventory?
Right. So the funny part about that is you're right. I haven't had time to do the thrift shop thing, and with COVID and everything, I kind of don't want to go into other stores. But Before I used to do the whole Goodwill runs, the discovery shops that we have here in California, there's tons of them. And so those are like, people really don't know that, we have these thrift stores. So it was always a good honey hole to find things in these shops. But I would honestly say garage sales are probably the best places to find stuff, because what's nice about a garage sale is people just want to get rid of the stuff, so they're almost like want to give it away. The prices are so low, and you have an opportunity to ask the sellers, like, hey, do you have video games, baseball cards, comic books, shoes, purses? And then they go, oh, I didn't think anyone wanted them, and they go back in the house and they bring it out. As a matter of fact, I have so many stories. I should probably start doing videos on the stories. But one time there was a lady that I asked if they had vintage Star Wars toys, right? And lo and behold, she had them and brought them out, and there was a whole box of them. And I'm drooling because I just see like $100 bills like everywhere in this box. And another seller or buyer was like next to me, like, oh my God, those are worth a ton of money. And I'm like, shut up, dude. What are you doing? The lady ended up not selling them to me because of another person that got all excited next to me. And that's another whole psychology thing about going to garage sales, is not to get too excited about anything and not to get too emotionally attached. I was very emotionally attached to that box of Star Wars figures, and I almost punched this guy out. I was so frustrated. But it was just one of those things where, you can go to garage sales and you can just ask the people. Another good tactic is make some business cards and give them to anyone you see that is having a garage sale. Say, like, look, I'm a reseller, I'm looking for this kind of stuff. You don't even have to say you're a reseller. You can just say you're just a collector of something. Give them a business card. And I've heard of so many stories. This hasn't really happened to me because no one usually calls me back, but I've heard of friends that have done this technique, and they've had people call them back and offer them insane, crazy things for like really low prices just because they happen to have their card. John from Popeye's Postcards told me a story one time where he would hand his cards out to everyone, and when a gentleman died, his wife knew about John and his card and called them up, and John got an amazing collection of postcards for a pretty good price. So that's another great way to kind of a tactic to kind of use.
Yeah, yard sales are really good. I do really good at pawn shops. They're willing to negotiate, and a lot of the times they get stuff there really cheap. You guys, if you get a chance to go to flea markets, sometimes you'll find really good stuff there for cheap there at flea markets. And also, you can look locally. We had that whole lockdown last year in 2020, man. I was raking it in. I went to like Craigslist, OfferUp, and I was picking up Nintendo Wii video game systems, a whole system for like $15-20 a piece. And one day I bought like 3 of them in one day, and I would go around, maybe pay, $15, $20, $25 for a whole bundle set. And then I would sell off all the games individually, sell off the little controllers. One of them had like a little steering wheel, and then I would, sell them off. And then some of them, if it was like missing the power cords or whatever, I had some in the shed, and I would make like a little bundle pack. And then I would turn my $20 into like 140, 150 on eBay. So if you look online, like find deals locally, sometimes like on OfferUp, and don't look for the ones that are just posted. Find ones that are like 6 months old that you don't know if the person still has it or not, because by then you have a heck of a lot more leverage to negotiate. So if they're asking $50, you can say, hey man, do you still have this Nintendo Wii available? And they'll say, yeah, sure. And you say, hey man, I really want to buy it. How's $20 sound? And usually 9 times out of 10, it's been sitting there for 6 months collecting dust. They just wanted to get rid of it. They're like, oh, $20 sounds great. Yeah. And you show up there, you hand them $20, they hand you your stuff. You go home, take photos of it, list it on eBay. You can make pretty good money doing that as well. There's so many different sourcing techniques. And one of the ones I've been using a lot of is buying big wholesale lots of merchandise. And you guys look online on eBay, and whatever it is you're looking for, type in wholesale lots. So like I sell a lot of media, so I'll type in CD wholesale lots, and then when you pull it up, the wholesale lots, you can just scroll through it, and you can get 100, 500, 1,000 items shipped to your door, and you're paying 40, 50 cents a piece an item, and it's stuff that's still like brand new, sealed in the plastic. So you're buying it on eBay, and then you go home, list them individually, and then sell them back on eBay. So maybe you had 40, 50 cents an item, and now you're turning around and selling them for $10, $15, $20 a piece. Let's say it's $10 a piece, and you bought 1,000 of them. Your buy cost was $400. Now you have $10,000 worth of merchandise. and it shows up right at your door. You're not out in 100-degree heat. You're not in the pouring down rain. You just press a button and it shows up at your door. So let me say hello real quick to a few people in the chat. Art Mandalay just stopped by. I wanted to say hey to Art Mandalay. The Stellate Sniper is here, and we have a question. It says, hey, Chris, what is your biggest flip on your eBay store? So do you have any big flip stories you could tell us about?
I have a couple, but real quick, I'm going to answer that question real quick, but I want to touch on real quick about sourcing. And, you know, a lot of it has to do with your location. Like you mentioned, flea markets. For me, I used to go to flea markets every week, and here in California, Southern California, flea markets were like literally impossible to find any good stuff in, because there's so many people nowadays with the internet that know what they're selling. Trying to find those harder to find items in a major metropolitan area is so extremely hard to do. So if you live in a rural area, like in the Midwest or the East Coast somewhere, those are prime places to find great stuff at a flea market. But for here in California, I used to go to flea markets religiously every week and not find anything, just because of just so many people. Anyways, the biggest flip that I can remember that I ever had was I bought a pair of like statues here in this store, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, that I ended up selling for like $5,000. I think I paid like $50 for the pair, $25 a piece. And they were just some like special kind of like limited edition gifts that were given away during a New Year's Eve party from a billionaire used to have these made by an artist. And so they were rare and they were special, but I didn't know what they were till I got home. So I turned $50 into $5,000 once on eBay. And I've done the whole like paid $5 and got $500 for something. I've done that a handful of times too with art. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest, most expensive item I sold on eBay was a pickup truck. It sold on eBay for $20,000, and I got it at an auction, and you know, and I didn't make. I think I paid like maybe 15 or 16,000 for the truck, and sold it on eBay for 20,000. So if you guys, there's all different type of stuff. The cool thing about eBay is you're not gated in all these categories like Amazon. So if you just look, you can find all different type of stuff you can flip and sell online. You just got to look for it. So, Chris, I wanted to touch real quick on, you said earlier about these NFTs, and it just so happened it was actually scrolling through the news feed on my phone, and one of them came up, and it was talking about like some limited edition Tom Brady NFT or something, and people were buying these for $10, $12, and then the very next day it was selling for hundreds of dollars the very next day. I don't know if it was like a limited edition model or whatever. But if you guys don't know, Chris I'm not going to tell you how much, but he made a big come up selling these NFTs lately, right? Can you tell us a little bit about what these NFTs are and how people can flip these and make a profit on them?
So basically, NFTs are digital kind of collectibles on the blockchain, and without having to explain everything, it's just basically digital collectibles. So someone bought a digital card of Tom Brady. It was on a particular blockchain, and so what's different between NFTs and just digital stuff, NFTs basically have a unique ID on the blockchain, which makes them kind of limited edition, and sometimes they're unique. Even though if they made 100 of those Tom Brady digital cards, there's going to be like 1 of 100, 2 of 100. So a lot of the first mints, you know, the very first ones that are made go for a crazy amount of money. And if it's something that sells out really quick, just like a pair of Nikes or anything like that, it's the same thing. It's supply and demand. There's people that collect these digital blockchain assets or collectibles. So it's just another collectible subcategory, basically.
Well, I was watching it online, and they said it was like a limited edition autograph, and I'm like, it's not even a real autograph. Like it's virtual. Like I don't know. Like did he get like one of those like little you know those little S pens, and he signed it with an S pen or something? Like I'm like, it wasn't even a real autograph. You know. So I was just kind of like mind blowing to me that people would pay this much money for something that's not real, man. It reminds me of my little brother. He texted me a couple weeks ago, and he was all excited telling me about this new car that he bought. He was telling me about the leather interior and the sunroof and the wheels and all this stuff. And I said, well, bro, send me a picture of this car. So he sent me a picture of a car, and Chris, it was a car in a video game, bro. It wasn't even a real car. It was a car of a video game.
That's too funny.
It was a video game car. And I said, dude, seriously, this is a video game car. This is not a real car, dude. Like, I thought
Yeah,
that he actually went and bought a real car because all of the stuff he was telling me about it. But it turned out it was a
that's so funny.
car in a video game. I was like, dude, I don't even have any words to describe how disappointed I am. It was so funny. So,
So yeah, so like I understand the whole like thing about collectors and just people in general like myself and yourself that don't understand this whole thing. And to me it's a new way of collecting digitally. I mean, we've seen the radio turn into the television, we've seen the television turn into the internet, and we're seeing kind of a new kind of movement into different collectibles. It's like basically a brand new category that's maybe came out in the last 6 or 5 years. So I would definitely say that this is going to be a huge thing. I don't know if it's going to be a huge thing right now. It kind of feels like everything's in a little bit of a bubble, but I wouldn't doubt if we're going to see more NFT stuff in the future. There's lots of people getting involved right now, lots of major companies, and it's just basically a new way to make revenue, and it's a technology, so it's not like you just own a digital collectible of Tom Brady. Someday maybe you can exchange that digital item for a real one. There's so many possibilities. You can have a digital lease on your land. You can have a digital pink slip for your car that's an NFT, and you sell that NFT instead of a physical piece of paper that you have to have signed and send to the DMV and all that stuff when you sold your truck. You can have it digitally and sell that NFT on a market, and then all that exchanges happen digitally. You don't even have to worry about losing the pink slip or getting a new copy or anything. So it's a technology, and I think right now it's like the honeymoon phase of this particular new technology that's just coming out.
I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. I just don't get it. Like when you're saying having like a virtual thing, it's like I got pulled over by the police and he was like, "Hey, if you can show me a virtual copy of your proof of insurance card on your phone," he's like, "I'll accept that." So to me, that made sense because it's like, yeah,
Exactly.
I have insurance. I have a copy right here on my phone showing you a picture of it. But that made sense to me. But when you're telling me that there's a collectible item that may or may not have been autographed virtually and it's worth $3,000 because it's a limited edition, that didn't make a ton of sense to me. So let me say hello here to a few people in the chat. Joey Bada Bing 22 is in the chat here. He says, "Hello, the coolest eBay addict out there." Hey, man, I just sent you a message on Instagram. I think him and Drew Profit Monsters is in Utah right now. I saw a picture of you guys on Instagram hanging out over there. So I hope you're having a good trip. And I wanted to say hey to Regina here. She says, "Hello, Jeff, and hello, everybody. Thanks for stopping by, Regina. I caught your show yesterday with you and Derek. I was hanging out with you guys for a while. And Art Vandalays in the chat. So, Chris, since you have 30 years of experience with eBay, is there anything that you can give us, any kind of insights or knowledge that you can help people out to help them make more money on their eBay business? Is there any hot items or bolos? Is there any tips you can help people out with here? How about this? Let's talk about summer slowdown. People are
Okay.
panicking and they're like, I'm not selling anything. What do I need to do? Because you've been through this roller coaster up and down. You got 30 years of experience. So maybe you can help us out with that.
So summer slowdown is kind of a hard thing because it's all about what you sell, and everyone's different. Like some people are having the best summers of their lives on eBay right now. Some of them are having the worst summers of their lives. So it all comes down to what you sell and how many things you list and if a price is competitive or not. If you're having some slow sales, maybe you run a sale every weekend, or maybe kind of drop your prices on your whole store. Maybe summer might be a good time to liquidate your whole store and start over for fall. Like there's so many different things that you can do. You can do some promoted listings if you haven't done that. There's so many things you could do. I would say staying stagnant is the worst thing you can do. Try something, change it up, like end all your listings and then relist them and change the prices a little bit. There's so many different things you can do to jumpstart the algorithm. There's a whole debate about whether the algorithm is a thing or not. But in my experience, when every day I go on and I see what's ending, and I'll end some of those listings and then relist them with different prices. And like literally 5 minutes later, I have people sending me best offers on these things. So there is something to that from my personal experience. I don't have any IT tech knowledge to say like, oh, there's a crazy algorithm and it works and this is how I don't think anyone knows that. It's just experience of saying like, I end these listings, I relist them with different prices, and miraculously people send me offers that same day of stuff I had on my store for a year. So I would just say try something different. The worst thing you can do, like I said, is just to be stagnant and do nothing. Just do something.
Yeah, guys, it's funny. I was just talking about that the other day about different things that you can do as far as running a sale on your eBay store, doing promoted listings. There are some things that you can do to kind of stimulate sales in your eBay store. Matter of fact, when I experiment with promoted listings, like half of the stuff that I sell ends up being promoted listing sales. I'd say like half.
Yeah.
So, you could experiment with that. And I don't do a lot. I do like 1% promoted listings. I know everybody's different. What do you usually do? Do you do trending on your end, or what do you usually do?
No, I stay away from that because it's like 7% usually is the average on trending, and that's crazy when you think about it. So I usually do like anywhere between 2.1% and 3.1%, and I do the 0.1, and it's very strategic, is because most people are doing solid numbers, 1%, 2%, 3%. If you do that 0.1%, you're 0.1 over the next guy. If you do 0.2, you might be 0.2 over the 3.0 guy. So there's kind of like a weird kind of tactic that you have there. I see. The thing is, you got to know your products. Like if I had a scrap gold or silver coins or silver forks or anything like that, I would never promote those because those things sell pretty much instantly if your price is competitive against the price of silver or the price of gold. So I would never do those as promoted items. But maybe DVDs I've had sitting around forever, maybe I'll do a sale and do like 3.1% on those and see what happens. So it's all about knowing what you do. But for me, I usually do about 2.1% or 3.1%, 48 hours after I listed the item, because you don't want to list the item, put it on promoted, and it's going to sell anyway. So you might as well give it some time to kind of marinate in the algorithm. Hey, that's a good term, marinate in the algorithm. I like that. And then basically, and then after 48 hours, a week, maybe then turn on promoted listings as like a backup plan.
Okay, awesome. So, Chris, I want to find out what's been going on lately with you lately, because I've been reaching out to you for like 3-4 months on Instagram. Well, tell me about what's been going on lately with you. What have you been up to out there in California?
So work's been keeping me very busy. We're kind of trying to scale right now because right now it's just me running this whole organization's eBay thing. I mean, we have volunteers and we have other managers that are doing stuff on their end, but I'm trying to build this and scale this this charity eBay site as best I can. So I've been super busy with that, with life and everything, Instagram, all these things. I kind of every once in a while I take a little break or a semi-retirement from all this stuff, and that's where I'm at right now. I've made a pretty good amount of money on the NFTs, where it's like I look at the money that I make on YouTube, and then I look at how much time I put into NFTs, and it's like exponential, like the percentage of the ROI. So it's like I'm trading my time for money, and most of us trade our time for money, unfortunately, in this life. We have bills to pay, we got families to feed, and all that kind of stuff. So for me, it was more ROI in my time, which has become very valuable to spend off of YouTube, off of Instagram, off of Facebook, and just focusing on building my business, having better relationships with my family, and just kind of growing this business and trying to just make more money on the NFTs and stuff that I really enjoy doing. So that's why I've been kind of away.
Do you have any new projects coming up that you can kind of tell us about, or is there anything in particular that you're working on right now that maybe, there's a goal or something you're working towards over the next 2-3 years that you have coming up?
Yeah, so I mean, with the NFTs, that's a whole different thing. I make my own NFTs, and so I'm working on that. It's really not much to go into that. That's kind of like a daily thing I work on. But for this business, we're trying to scale. We're trying to get more volunteers to come and kind of help out with the eBay business. We might be hiring some people over the next 3 to 4 years to help me scale this business. We have some high profile celebrity auctions coming up later this year. I really can't talk about it, but it's a famous game show host. His suits that were used during his production of his show will be coming out in the next couple months. So I'll let everyone know on Instagram around there. But other than that, we're just trying to grow our business, and we really appreciate everyone who goes to our eBay store and checks something out, because like I said, the money goes to help cure cancer and fund cancer research.
Yeah. So we didn't get a chance to talk about this much last time I had you on, but can you tell us a little bit about, print on demand? I know that you do that a little bit on the side.
I love that stuff.
When I talk about it a little bit, when I talk about it, people kind of look at me like I'm a space alien or something. So drop some knowledge on it. Tell us a little bit about print on demand.
Okay, for those that don't know, print on demand's basically like t-shirts, mugs, pillowcases, things that you can design a graphic on, like let's say this particular graphic, and you put it on a shirt, like this particular shirt, and then you can sell it on eBay, Amazon, or Etsy. And I've been doing really well. So I have two eggs. I have two eggs in the basket with print on demand. I have Printful that uses Etsy integration to sell my designs on Etsy, and I also have Merch by Amazon, which sells my designs on Amazon. So it's two different things for print on demand. Both have their ups and downs. For anyone new, getting into the Merch by Amazon is going to be hard because I think you have to still submit an application and be approved just like a normal Amazon seller, and it's a lot harder to get into that. But the Amazon through Etsy, through Printful integration, you can just basically sign up for a Printful account, and then basically attach your eBay account or your Etsy account. You can even attach your Amazon account to this thing. And basically you make designs, you price them on Etsy, you advertise them however you want people to see your stuff, and you sell your own designs. And you can sell, you can make a commission. You basically make a commission when someone buys the item on both those platforms. Amazon or Printful will print the item, ship to the customer, and you get a commission. So basically, you don't have to house any merchandise. You don't have to do any of that. It's all done third party, which I find pretty fascinating. And for me, I make probably, I don't know, what is that? Maybe 5 figures a year on both of those things. So it's like another egg in the basket for those that are looking to expand their kind of business and the reselling business. If you're just doing eBay, that's just one egg in the basket. My suggestion is to get multiple eggs, just because if someone steals that basket or that basket goes away, you have all those other eggs to fall back on. And that's what I've done over the last 30 years is build these different kind of money maker things. And, if eBay's not doing well, guess what? My Merch by Amazon's doing okay, or my FBA is doing okay. So in a nutshell, that's basically what print on demand is.
Yeah, guys. So yeah, I'm following you on Instagram and YouTube, and I see you occasionally post about it. So that's why I wanted to bring it up, because he doesn't like to brag on himself, but I mean, sometimes he makes enough money in a month for print on demand, enough where someone can pay their rent with. Maybe not in California, but here in Florida, it's enough where you can be like, all right, here you go, my rent's paid for the month just off of print on demand. And it's almost semi-passive, because once you have your designs up and posted, then it kind of rinse and repeats, and you're able to generate sales over and over again, right?
Yeah, it's the closest. Print on demand is the closest thing in my years of doing this of passive income as you can get. The closest thing to passive income is like making money while you're sleeping, because like I said, once you have those designs out there, and if they're selling, you have to do nothing to do with customer service unless you're using Printful. But if you're just doing Merch by Amazon, you don't deal with customer service, you don't deal with returns, you don't deal with anything. They sell the product to the customer, and you get kicked back a commission every month.
Yeah, so they handle all the packing, the printing of the designs, shipping, customer service. They handle all that for you. All you have to do is come up with the design and put it on the logo there. And you got to make sure it's not copyrighted, and you got to make sure that you're not like copying somebody else's design. So you can't put like Coca-Cola or Walt Disney or something like that on
I couldn't sell this Lyrical Lemonade shirt because it's copyrighted. You know what I mean? It's like the same thing. So you don't want to put Batman logos, and it's you could do parodies, and there's a lot of good documentation online to see what a parody is, and you can get away with kind of using a little bit of IP without getting in trouble. But also seek the advice of someone else that's not me. But yeah, absolutely, just stay away from copyrighted stuff. Come up with your own designs and your own slogans. I found that like even slogans, like even just words on t-shirts, if you have a great slogan that's not copyrighted, you can make a ton of money just doing slogans.
Yeah, it's funny. Last year during the election, I saw a bunch of people that would like set up like little pop-up tents, and they would have like "vote for so and so" on a shirt, and they would be selling them like hotcakes.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, what are you going to do 2 weeks later after the election's over? You've got this, tin shirt that says "vote for so and so." 2 weeks later, it's like, what are you going to use it with for? You can't go around 2021 and still wear it. People are going to look at you like you couldn't even wear it to the gas station or the grocery store. People will look at you like you're crazy. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I was gonna say you bring up such an amazing point why print on demand I think is better than anything else because let's say you're one of those pop-up shops that goes to a screen printer and prints up 100 shirts for the election and you sell like 5 and you're stuck with 95 shirts that are never going to sell. Print on demand is literally what it says. They print the shirt on demand once it's sold, so there's no overhead. It's good for the environment. There's so many positive things with print on demand. It's so I highly suggest people look into it if they have any kind of artistic ability or they have friends or people that they can see. Sometimes I even contract artists to make stuff for my. I have an idea, but let's say like I'm not very artistically inclined on the computer, though I am in some certain aspects. I'll go to like a Fiverr or a third party site, look for an artist, pay them 15, 20, 50, even $100 I've paid sometimes to artists to do one design. You'll get a design and you can sell it like that too. So there's so many different ways to make print on demand work for you.
Yeah, well, I like it because it's very low startup cost. It's not like, it's not like you're buying a Starbucks franchise or something. The entry level startup cost is very nominal. And once you have your design printed, it's like you have it in this catalog. And once you own that design, it can just resell over and over and over again. And you're not having, 500 shirts in your closet at your house. You're not having to handle all the shipping and customer service. So I was just bringing it up because I saw that you sell a lot of them, and I'm not an expert in that niche, but I thought we would talk about it. I'm going to say hello here real quick to Prison to Profit. I wanted to say hey to the Flippin' Sports guy. I just saw him on Instagram. He recently got married, so congratulations to you. And I wanted to say hey to Red Mountain Resell. Art Vandalay is in the chat. Regina, LKL Graphics Keith is here. And I wanted to say hey to Joey Bada Bing is in the chat. He says that he was at the airport. So hope you guys had a good trip. So Chris, do you have any? Can you give us maybe three like tips, three pieces of advice to help somebody? Because most of my audience are eBay sellers. What would be like three pieces of advice that you could give our audience to help them with their eBay business, whether it's sourcing or listing or shipping? Because one of the things that gets on my last nerves is dealing with customer service. I'll have a photo listed and they're like, can you send me 5 more photos? And I'm like, bro,
Oh
I
yeah,
sent you a photo front and back. I don't know, like
those
it's not
things.
going in a museum or something. I don't know what it is that you're wanting, but
Oh
yeah,
my
can
god.
you drop some knowledge or give us some advice to help us with our eBay business?
Yeah, so customer service is always going to be hard because sometimes you get, people that are logical and are understanding, and then you get some of the people that are irate for no reason, and you're like, what the hell's going on with this society? Three
Yeah.
things. I think one is I would, if you're starting out, even if you're like a veteran, I would say inventory system, having some sort of inventory system will save you a lot of time. Cause I mean, I remember early on when I first started, I would just list stuff and throw them in a container and then put it away. But when I started to get older and wiser, I learned that like I have like hundreds of items and thousands of items some people might have. So having an inventory system early on your eBay business will save you so much time. So I think it's not like, oh, like how can I make more money? These are kind of like the logistical things maybe that I can give some tips on. So I would say for one is definitely have an inventory system. And if you don't have an inventory system, maybe take a weekend to kind of take all your stuff, pull it out, and then basically label all the bins like 01, 02, 03, however you want to label it, and then go into the custom SKU in your eBay active listings, and you can just put those inventory numbers in your active SKU. In most shipping software, I use what is it? I don't use Pirate Ship. I use another one. I forget what it's called. I can't believe I forgot what it's called. I use it every day. But basically, you can print out pick lists that'll show your inventory things. So it'll be easy to get. You won't lose stuff. I've wasted weekends trying to find a $10 item. And like I said, now as I'm getting older, my time is worth so much more than it did when I was in my 30s. So saving your time now would be important. So that's a good tip. Another good tip is kind of going back and repricing stagnant listings. Go back and see like, well, this hasn't sold. Instead of just listing. Oh, that's been up for a year. Go back, check the current prices, set new prices. And maybe the third advice is like, don't be afraid just to take all your crap and just donate it. Like get rid of it. Like the thing is, when I started, even now, I'm kind of like a hoarder a little bit with my collectibles. And I feel like sometimes you buy these things and you expect every single thing you buy is going to sell, and that's like not reality. So there's a certain point where you're going to need to just take your stuff, you paid $1.25 for it, whatever, and just go donate it, give it to someone who needs it. Just take a loss on it, and you can actually take a loss on your taxes on some of that stuff too. And taxes is a whole other thing we can get into, but never mind about that. I'm not a CPA, I'm not a lawyer, don't take tax advice from me, but you know, taxes are another crazy thing that we can get into. But anyways, that's probably my 3 tips I can give anyone.
Yeah, you know, it's funny when you're younger and you're in high school and college. It's like you have infinity amount of free time to just kind of zone out and
Do
play video
nothing.
games.
Yeah.
And when you're an adult, that's like a luxury. It's like, oh, I have a couple hours of free time. Let me go take an hour or 2 nap. Like I'm tired. Like your brain just like operates
Absolutely.
differently. And when you're younger, you're just like, dude, I've got all the time in the world. Like I'm not in no hurry to go anywhere or do anything. Regina says, just throw it in the trash. Well, guys, what I was telling you guys earlier is that if you have a lot of stuff that's piling up, taking space, maybe you can offload it locally. There are some places you can take it to, you know, pawn shops. You can donate it to thrift stores. There's a place nearby that I go to a lot called Resell America, and they'll buy almost anything of value. If you have some old, like I had some old sports PS2 games that were just piling up. So I just took them there, and they gave me cash on the spot, and I was able to take that cash and reinvest it into other merchandise that would move instead of like Madden 2008 or something, you know. So Chris, tell everybody where they can go by and check you out at on YouTube and Instagram. So they can go by and check you out and give you a follow, man.
Yeah, so my link is below in the description if you want to go check out my Instagram and my YouTube. It's the Thrift Shop. It's Thrift Shop Hustler on Instagram, and you can check out the American Cancer Society eBay store at cancer.org/eBay. Very simple. You'll be able to see our listings there.
You have a link for it on your Instagram page, right?
I think I do. Yeah.
Yep. All right, cool. Well, thanks for coming on and hanging out with me today, Chris. I know you're on your lunch break, and I want you to get something to eat for lunch. I don't want you to be like
I got a liquid lunch today.
Eat my lunch, right? So, hey, so go by and check them out, and all those links are down below. And for YouTube and Instagram, how long have you been making YouTube videos now, Chris? I looked at it, and it went all the way back to like 4 years. It's been a while,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I was making YouTube videos before that on different channels, and I wish I stuck with some of that content because I would probably be a pretty crazy YouTuber right now. That's another actually good advice too, is if you're trying to work at a goal or working at something, don't give up, because there's so many times that I've given up, and like you never know, the next day might be that situation where you're going to be successful. So just keep trying. If you have a YouTube channel, try different things, try different content, trying to stay in the same realm of what you're doing. And you never know what you might find. You might discover that your people like vlogs. You might find out that your people like to hear about different items to sell, you know. So you have to find your niche, but just don't ever give up if you're working towards a goal.
Yeah, you just got to keep hustling. I think you're already successful in my eyes. You have over 16,000 subscribers, and I don't know if you know this, but 99% of the people on YouTube, they never ever even get monetized. So if you cross that threshold of having, if you cross that threshold of having 1,000 subscribers and you get your 4,000 hours of watch time, you're already ahead of the game of 99% of the other people. So don't, just take one little baby step at a time. Do you have any final thoughts that you can leave us with, Chris?
Jeff, thank you for reaching out. It's good. It's good to see you. It's been a little while, and I appreciate everyone for, all the support they've given me and yourself. And definitely, if you're not subscribed to Jeff, you definitely want to go down there, click the subscribe button, click the like, leave a comment, and all that fun stuff, because Jeff is an amazing guy, and you'll learn a lot from him with his different guests he has on every week.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, Chris, sometimes he links my videos and puts in the community section when you don't have to. So I appreciate you and everything you do in the community. So anyways, guys, I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon. I have Miss Taffy's going to be here. She also lives in Los Angeles. So if you guys want to come by and hang out with us tomorrow afternoon, I think it's going to be 6 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you then. Till then, you guys have a great day. Bye, guys.